StreamYard now, so I've got a lot more capabilities.
Awesome.
To do things here. So I just
very nice.
Got to remember where everything is because it's all new. Here it is. All right.
It's learning to fly a different airplane.
Watch this. Or maybe not. That's not working. Oh, I hit the wrong one.
Hold my beer. Here, y'all.
I told you it's new. I told you this is new. A little extra spice there for you, Brad.
Mission First Tactical is the official tactical accessories provider for the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for an exclusive 20% discount on all orders.
All right, lead heads. Welcome back to another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. I am your host, Lefty, where we have been bringing you all the lead education for the past 12 years here on the Talking Lead podcast. And hopefully, the last few episodes, you guys have gotten some really good nuggets of information. We had 2 episodes ago, a room full of executive protection experts to kind of give you their insight and their input on the Trump assassination attempt and the failures and, some of the things they got right and didn't get right with the Secret Service. So that's a great episode. Make sure you go check that out. We got 4 of the nation's best executive protection professionals on that episode. And then the last episode, we had John Farner with the Gun Owners of America to give us an update on some of the pressing issues that you need to be aware of with your gun rights and what they're doing to try to take those away from you. The most recent was Engaged in the Business. And you definitely want to go check that out, listen to that, because if you're just a private gun owner and because it's perfectly legal to buy, sell, trade amongst yourselves, amongst the public without having to go through an FFL. But even if you go through an FFL, you might find yourself breaking their definition of the law and you could go to jail. So check that episode out. You're going to love it. This episode, we're going to have fun. This is going to be a fun episode. Because you guys know we don't like to get into politics. We like to have fun and talk about all the things that encompass this industry. Books, fiction, nonfiction, they cover that genre as well. And we had a lot of authors on this show, and we are thankful to have a returning New York Times best-selling author, ladies and gentlemen. It is the god of literary action thriller thunder, Brad Thor, joining us again. So, Brad, welcome in.
Hey, Lefty, it's great to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to have you back on. You got the new book, Shadow of Doubt, continuing the Scot Harvath saga. Definitely looking forward to that. I haven't read the book yet, but I've read the excerpts and listened to the little blurbs you've got on your website. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading it and checking it out, which it's okay because we're not going to do any spoilers here.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. It's like a movie trailer, and that's all you get till you get in the
There you go.
Till you buy your ticket, till you buy your book.
Got to buy the ticket. And it's available on all the platforms. So it's the audio, the ebooks, the hardback covers.
Hardcover. Yep.
You like the touchy-feely, tangible, which I do. I like those, but I also like to listen too because, time. It's a lot easier for some of us to listen in the car, at the gym, or while we're doing our yard work, kind of deal.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big fan. You know what? I love the audiobooks as well. If I'm sitting down reading, I want that hardcover, but if I'm moving, then I want the audio. So I agree. I'm very similar to you. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're so spoiled in our way that we can consume data these days, whether it's through the old fashioned way, the the stone tablets, or, or you can get it through the interwebs now, or download it and listen, at our leisure. So there's so many ways to get our data, our entertainment, our news. But yeah, so last time we had you on, Deadfall was the hotness with Scot Harvath going on, and like usual, you've got your finger right on the pulse of what's going on. So it's like you got a crystal ball, it seems like. He was in Ukraine. He was doing his business there in Ukraine. I'm not going to give that away for the people who haven't read it, but we could probably talk a little bit more about it than we did last.
Yeah, we can. I mean, he was last summer's book. Harvath was sent in to rescue a hostage from the very hot war in Ukraine, an American who had been taken hostage. So America couldn't commit troops because that'd be an escalation. And all Harvath's teammates are ex-military. And if they caught more than one guy who was ex-U.S. military, the Russians could have made a case that the U.S. had put boots on the ground there. So Harvath had to go by himself and then kind of recruit locally to put a team together, a ragtag team to go track this American down and pull her out. And that's what last summer's book was about.
Yeah. And it, all the thrills and action that you can think of, there were drones and, everything involved there. And was the Galil, right? Was that the one where he was using the Galil?
Yeah, because he had that nice curved mag on there, and it made him blend in a little bit more with some of the AKs and stuff that you were seeing in the theater over there. So, and then there were a lot of obviously what the Russians were armed with and things like that. So that was fun. There were a lot of exotic weapons in that book.
Yeah, yeah, and
exotic for me. I don't have a Galil. I got a lot of stuff. I don't have a Galil.
You don't have a Galil yet? That's surprising.
I do not. And it's funny because that's one of my technical advisors who recommended that book, a guy who I know who's been downrange in some very, very interesting places. That was his call. When I asked him if Harvath could pick, what would Harvath go into that theater with? And it was this buddy of mine that said, oh, absolutely, you take that Galil. Yeah.
Yeah, the 7.62 version of the Galil.
A little bit heavier, right? That kit, your loadout's a lot heavier. Yeah.
It's a 30 cal. But I'm a huge, as our listeners know, recently a huge AK fan. I started this series called the AK Corner that we do once a month, and we just talk AKs and your Eastern Bloc firearms. And this the one coming up. We're going to be talking actually about the Russian-Afghan War. So I've got a historian that's going to be on, former Spetsnaz, and we're going to talk about. So he was there.
Well, I'll tell you, when I went over to Afghanistan, it's many years ago. I think I was in Afghanistan in 2008, and those weapons, because we had AKs with us, those weapons could take so much punishment. Up to that point, the most abused or the weapon that could take the most abuse that I'd ever interacted with was the Glock, right? You could drop it in mud, you could drop it in sand, and that's different than an AK. That's a pistol versus a rifle.
Sure.
But what was amazing was guys on the team that I shadowed when I was in Afghanistan talked about how the Afghanis would tie knots in their shoelaces and just clean the weapon with their shoelaces, with a knotted shoelace, and then get right back in the fight. I mean, and you got the PKs and stuff. It is a wild place with the amount of Russian hardware that's over there. It's just, I have a lot of respect, particularly for the AK. I think it's an incredible weapon, and you look at how long it stood the test of time. I mean, it's an amazing weapon. Yeah,
and it to the extent that it can evolve, it evolves, and that's what the Galil basically is based off the AK. And evolved into the Galil. And there's, a couple other countries. And we've talked about it on the AK Corner. But, yeah, we did a whole episode on the Galil a couple of years ago. So
that's cool.
It's a great firearm. I don't have one either, surprisingly. I was even sponsored by IWI there for a while. And, those
would have been the guys to hook you up.
They would have. But I'm just so bad about asking. I don't ask people for anything, kind of deal. It's just.
You made me, if I could just interrupt for a second, and I don't want to go down a ton of rabbit holes because it's your show, but we're all lovers
do rabbit holes here, Brad. We do rabbit holes.
We do them better than anybody else. Best rabbit holes in the world. You're gonna love it. Trust me. People are saying. So there was that clamshell thing that you could throw on the Glock. You remember that thing? It basically turned a Glock pistol into an SBR.
The Roni.
It was Israeli. Yeah. That's it. And that was Israeli
I know the guy
made,
who developed that. I'm friends
Was
with him.
so who manufactured that? What company manufactured
CAA.
that? Okay, sorry. So I thought it was
Commando, which they're
IWI.
Israeli also. It's an Israeli
Okay.
company.
So I was close, but no actual cigar because it was a different company than IWI. Okay. I
But
thought
it's
that thing was
the same
cool.
people. A lot of
What's
the same
that?
people. It's a lot of the same
Uh-huh.
people.
So it's an incestuous business over there, the same way it is over here, and people move from one company to another. That's
More
not
so over
surprising.
there, and they're not necessarily moving from one, but they own, through that my brother
Oh,
owns this, or my cousin is
wow.
owner of this
Okay.
kind of thing. But eventually,
Okay.
the guy who invented it just started his own company with that. I can't remember what they call it now, but it's a chassis system. You put your Glock in and you can turn it into basically a submachine gun kind of deal.
So I will, and I hope I'm not stealing a question from later in the show, but
Sure.
I don't think so because you said you haven't read the book yet. So while we're
Go ahead.
here with the Ronin and the chassis thing, I think I would love to just bring this up now because it's just perfect for this.
Let's do it.
So a friend of mine introduced me, and I follow them on Instagram, and it basically can turn your SIG or your Glock into a PDW, and it's got the brace that like pops directly out the back. Like if you've got it in the wrong place, the brace will clip you, and it's got a spare Flux Flux Defense, I think is the name of the company. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I can
It's
pull it up
similar
here on my phone.
It's similar to what we're talking about with the Roni.
Okay.
That's
Except
what the
it's
Roni
not
does.
I mean, it's similar, but it's almost like, I think it's the upper that you put on there. So it's smaller, lighter, faster. So yeah, it's called Flux Defense, fluxdefense.com. If you can bring it up. I know you got the fancy news platform that we're on here. But I thought this thing was so damn cool, and they make a holster for it. I mean, this thing is going to be pushing out. I think it's going to replace a lot of, especially for close protection specialists. Look at that. That thing is so badass. So you've got the extra mag holder. I just think this is so cool. In the way that brace, I mean, the brace shoots out the back in a fraction of a half second. Yeah. And you can get that right up snugged in, and you can be pop, 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 pop. It is so damn cool. There you go. The Raider. So I put this in the new book. Harvath and a couple of his guys have these because they're so concealable. They're so badass. When I saw this, I was like, I got to have this in the book. So this is in Shadow of Doubt. So for those of you who are seeing this before you read the book, this is really cool because you get to see what this thing looks like. So it's a lower, it's not an upper, obviously not it's a
lower frame. Looks like you can put your slide on there.
Yep. Put your slide.
I've seen these. I'm not real proficient with them yet, but it's braced. So it's not a stock. So, which is why you don't have to get an SBR for this, is because that is a it looks like a tail hook brace that will pop out and give you the extension. We'll call it. We'll keep our words less incriminating. And then that front end, instead of a vertical
foregrip,
it is a mag holder. So that's how they get away with putting that on there, because otherwise you couldn't put that on.
Okay.
That it's illegal to. I mean,
it's so sexy. It's
but
so
that
sexy.
That is a different version of what the Roni does. So the Roni, you just put your entire gun in this system, and you can just have it shipped to your door. You don't have to have any kind of go through an FFL or anything through the Roni. This, I'm assuming that it is a registerable type thing that you would have to go through your FFL to get that. But yeah, so that's in the book. Look at you, man.
Yeah. So I thought that thing was really cool. A couple of buddies of mine had pointed me towards this. They were in their, I'll say, agencies or particular units that'll remain nameless. They've been testing this and really thought it was cool. I mean, look at this. I mean, so you can have a light on this. Obviously, you can have a threaded barrel and put a suppressor on there. It's just, and so they're making these really cool. I mean, they're Kydex holsters, so you can get it underneath a coat and everything, and you can draw this sucker really fast and get on target very, very quickly. So I think this thing is going to be just the heat with close protection specialists, with special operations people. I really like this and think if you see a video of how quick you can get on target, how quick it comes out of the holster, and how quick you get on target with this, it'll blow you away. This to me is disruptive technology. I think these guys are doing something that is so unique and so badass. I'm a big fan of this thing and a big fan of their of Flux Defense.
Whiskey River Beef, farm to table with a twist. Come along with us on a quest towards achieving self-sufficiency in food production and fostering a robust local food source to promote good health. Stock up with premium Tennessee beef, unparalleled in flavor and tenderness. You can be confident that you're receiving beef with no added growth hormones or implants. Always pasture-raised, locally USDA processed, and shipped straight to your home. Whiskey River Beef is grass and whiskey mash fed and finished, and is at least 14 days dry aged to enhance the tenderness and give you the most robust flavor imaginable. Go to whiskeyriverbeef.com today to order. Visit us on Instagram at Whiskey River Life and on Facebook at Whiskey River Beef LLC. Whiskey River Beef is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade.
I think it's so cool.
That's what I love about this industry is the innovation. People.
God bless America, baby.
People they throw these laws and these regulations out at us and say you can't do this and you can't have that, and then these creative minds within our industry say, okay, well, if you're gonna throw that on us, well, let me throw this at you. Here's something that still accomplishes what we want it to accomplish, but it meets all your guidelines.
Yep, we're always building better mousetraps. That's what makes our.
Do you know these guys?
I do not. I follow them on Instagram. I think they have an A+ Instagram game. So you can look at Flux Defense on Instagram. Their videos are fantastic. Their standalone still photography is some of the best I have ever seen for any product. These guys don't pay me. I don't own one of these things. I'm just, when somebody does it right, it's fabulous to watch. I mean, I am glued to their stuff on social media. It is their game is just A+. I can't say enough good things about them. And the videos they run in like I said, this is not necessarily.
You should reach out to them and let them know you threw this in the book.
I should probably. So there's one of their holsters, obviously.
There it is.
Yeah. So I wish they had a second picture in there so you could see it from the other side and not just that side.
They probably do. But yeah, so I'll check them out.
Look at this. These are so gorgeous, these pictures. I mean,
do you have one yet?
No, I don't have one yet. So
okay. Well, you got to get this in your arsenal.
Yeah, no, I do. I would love to have something like this. So I wanted to get the book out and everything, and and I want to. I want to buy it. I'm not here talking on the show looking to get a free one. Sure. It's already in the book. It's going to be out there. I just think when I see good, solid American products, when I see good stuff being made in the firearms industry, it gets me excited. So not only do they have a good product, but whoever's doing their marketing is kicking ass and their design is so cool. It's just all around. This is a 10 out of 10, no notes.
Well, for you, Brad, I'm going to contact them and see if we can't get them on the show.
Oh, good. You should interview them. That'd be please do let me know when you're going to have them on because I want to see that one.
Well, maybe I'll get you on to co-host with me. How about that?
Oh, there you go. That'd be fun. Ask them a bunch of questions. Yeah.
Heck yeah. I think that'd be cool. They might be coming to as I said, we had Gun Owners of America on the last episode. They're going to have their first organization convention in Knoxville in August. Coming up in the next couple of weeks. So you should come up to Knoxville for that.
Well, it's not too bad of a drive from Nashville. So maybe I will if I'm back from being on the road for the new book. That might be fun.
Yeah, or maybe you're promoting it up in the Knoxville area. Then you just come on to the convention.
Yeah. I'll be there. At a stop. I can sign books in Knoxville.
Yeah, absolutely. And Knoxville's a great town. I'm sure they love you just as much there as they do in Nashville.
Knox Vegas, baby. I would love to
I was in downtown Nashville last night. As much as I hate going downtown Nashville, we had some friends that came into town and actually braved the Broadway.
That's fun. Any chairs being launched off rooftops, or was it pretty relatively tame while you were there?
I think the rain kind of tamed everybody down a little bit, but we did hit the rooftops, and I did go to that rooftop where the chair was flung from.
They've got a plaque there now. It's a historical landmark. If you go to the edge of the roof, you can see the plaque commemorating the night the chair went off.
They didn't tell us that while we were there. I would have.
Yeah, it's up on the roof. Somebody did a brass plaque. It's pretty funny. Good sense of humor.
But it's funny of Kid Rock, Jason Aldean, Morgan Wallen, Garth Brooks,
John Rich.
They all have their own bars.
Alan Jackson is one of the owners of Acme Feed and Seed at the very end of Broadway, and they don't really. It's a great spot, great food. You can look right out over the river. As far as I know, the exterior doesn't promote it as like Alan Jackson's Acme Feed and Seed. So a lot of people pass by it not knowing Alan's an investor, but that's another great spot. But listen, diversification is the key to having a successful portfolio. So good for all those guys. And if you love country music and if you've got stars that you love, why wouldn't you want to go say, I drank in John Rich's bar and Garth Brooks bar? That's pretty cool.
But you know what? Along that same vein, and I don't know if anybody's doing this in your industry or not, but how cool would it be to have, a Brad Thor, Scot Harvath bar?
That'd be really cool.
And then have like a whole themed street, and then all the big authors, Clancy and Jack and Hunter.
Yeah. That'd be pretty good. We had to try that out. We had to do like an author's row sort of a thing, maybe at SHOT Show one year, and see measure the traffic and see, and maybe each little booth can have a theme and get a sponsor, right?
Exactly.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
That'd be a good place to kind of test the waters, is take it to like a SHOT Show, or I'm sure that they have author conventions.
Yeah, with Thriller Fest is something. Thriller Fest we have, but you know what? It's funny. Thriller Fest it tends to be a lot of other authors. So we've got so many readers that love our stuff that show up at SHOT Show. That's probably, and you've been to SHOT Show. You know how massive that is and how many people show up. But that'd be really cool. Or each one gets one day of the week, and you completely redo the booth, right? So one day it's me, another day it's Jack.
Yeah, you used to have a row. You want to do a row.
I
want to do a row. I want to have, so I can go and experience this, and I can just go down here, and then it's like bar hopping, Yeah.
That's true. Like going down Broadway in Nashville.
Yeah, exactly.
From your lips to God's ears. Maybe that'll happen.
Or maybe, instead of everybody having their own restaurant, you could have like the double, like there are downtown Nashville. There's like 5 levels, and then each level is a different author that has their themed, floor with their hero. So.
There you go. That'd be neat. So you could have breakfast with one guy, lunch with another, shots with somebody else.
Bourbon, the character's favorite drinks,
Yep.
And that have no problem getting sponsors that way, I'm sure, Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about restaurants. We're here to talk about your new book, Shadow of Doubt. Again, this is the Scot Harvath, continuing the saga, the Scot Harvath, and it's kind of picking up where the last one left off. He's leaving from Ukraine, Poland, and he's headed to see his girlfriend, kind of deal. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because that's all I really know. So
yeah. So what I did is I had him, as we talked about at the beginning, that Harvath had gone into Ukraine to recover an American hostage, to get her out. And then Harvath, so I've got this ongoing thing. First of all, I should say to people who are watching and listening that my books, even though I have a repeat series character, my books are like the James Bond movies. If there's a new Bond movie at your movie theater and you've never seen a Bond movie before, you can go see that particular Bond movie and you're fine. You're not missing anything because you didn't see the ones that came before it. My books are exactly the same way. So it doesn't matter if you read last summer's book, doesn't matter if you've read any of the books, you can pick up Shadow of Doubt and you'll be fine. So essentially what's happening, Harvath's engaged to be married to this gorgeous Norwegian intelligence operative. She had come out a lot of people don't know that Norway actually has an all-female special forces unit. And this woman in my book had joined that unit and ended up quitting the unit because she was upset that when she went to Afghanistan with them, all she was doing was sitting around trying to pull intel out of the wives and daughters and stuff of Afghan warlords and all that. She was sitting around having tea when she really wanted to be kicking indoors and shooting bad guys in the face. So she leaves the military, she gets into the intelligence game, and she's met my protagonist, Scot Harvath, who was a Navy SEAL, who ends up doing a bunch of covert stuff for the government. They come together, they're engaged. So Shadow of Doubt starts with Harvath having been like at a super high ops tempo, because Harvath's bosses in Northern Virginia don't want him going into the field anymore. They don't want him doing ops. They want him to come back and be like a coach and develop the next team of operators. And Harvath's pretty much got this mindset that nobody's as good as he is, and that if anybody else is doing these operations, they're not going to have the successes that he does. So he refuses to come out of the field. So they've been grinding him through all these ops, which is very, very dangerous. He really doesn't have any time to recuperate. And so he's decided, I'm turning my phone off. I'm going to take a whole week in Norway with my fiance. She's been promoted at work. She's a deputy director at the Norwegian Intelligence Service. And a Russian defector has just crossed the border from northern Russia into Norway. And Harvath's fiance is in charge of debriefing him. So she can't just take a vacation and go meet Harvath. So he says, fine, I'll go to Oslo. I'll meet you. I'm turning off my phone. I don't care what anybody back in Northern Virginia says. The world can catch fire in the next 7 days. Not my problem. I am completely off grid and I'm not taking any assignments. When Harvath lands in Oslo, the CIA's local station chief is waiting for him at the airport and gets him pulled off the plane. And Harvath's like, what's going on? What's going on? She goes, wait till we get down to the embassy. She gets him to the embassy, puts him in the skiff, and says, this Russian defector that's come in, we think he knows more than the Norwegians realize. And we essentially need you to spy on your fiance who's handling the debriefing. And Harvath says, no, I'm not going to do that. This is my fiance. This is going to be my wife. I'm not going to spy on my soon-to-be wife. And so the CIA station chief says, well, Langley was afraid you were going to say that. And then they blackmail him into service. So there was something that Harvath did that was morally ambiguous in his past, and he thought nobody knew. Nobody saw it. Nobody knew about it. Somehow the CIA has figured out what he did, and now they're threatening to use it against him if he refuses to spy against his fiance. So that's where the book kicks off. So the Norwegians have this incredible defector. The French have figured out, a French intelligence agent has figured out something is happening with the Russians, and it's going to have a big impact on Europe and the United States. And he sets up a meeting next morning to go to his American counterpart to reveal what he has found. He gets murdered that night. So now Harvath is drawn into all of this where everybody's trying to figure out what the Russians are up to. There's all these little pieces of information. Nobody knows who they can trust. And nobody knows if the key piece of information that each of these three intelligence services has, nobody knows if it's legit. So there's a lot of doubt. Nobody knows, can they trust anybody? Can they trust the intel they have? And so this whole thing, and I did something, Lefty, that I haven't done before.
Yeah.
I keep the bad guys hidden till almost the end of the book. So you as the reader only find out stuff as the other good guys in the book are finding it out.
It's a grand reveal kind of deal, yeah.
Exactly. So you're trying to figure out in your own mind, well, wait, if you take this and combine it this way. So it's not a choose your own adventure. You're being led through this adventure, but you're being given all these little pieces of information that some of the protagonist has or doesn't have, and you're trying to put together the puzzle to see if you can solve it first. So that's that. And it's short, quick, cinematic chapters. A lot of fun, a lot of high energy, a lot of twists, turns, deceits, betrayals. And it was really difficult for me to write because this was a kind of different book for me. But all the reviews, the early reviews are like, this is the best book that Brad Thor has ever written. And that's there's ears.
I really like Deadfall. As we talked before, that was the first novel that I had read of yours. And then we had my friend Brian Keeney on, and he's a huge fan. He's read all your books. And but like you were saying, you could jump in anywhere, and just like James Bond, you catch on, what's going on, you're not going to be lost, and then you can go back and catch up with the other ones. Now, I think we talked about this, but is his story sequential, lifeline sequential? Does he age through these?
Sometimes, but when you look at like last summer's book to this summer's book, the end of Deadfall is Harvath reaching out to his fiance. The end of last summer's book is him reaching out to his fiance and her saying, I just got this big Russian defector. I can't meet you someplace. You'll have to come here. And Harvath says, fine, I'll be on the next flight to Oslo. And so this book picks up right there. So now the books in real life are spaced a year apart, last summer versus this summer. But in the universe of Harvath, it's just a continuation. So that's happened in a lot of the books where you as the reader get them spaced a year apart, but it's not a year of time passing in each one of the books.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But it is sequential lifeline for him kind of.
Yes. Deal. Yeah. There's no jumping back in time and showing when he had his first operation as a young Navy SEAL. None of that stuff. They are sequential for him. Again, it doesn't matter where you pick these books up, but the actual passage of time is not the passage of time that you and I are experiencing getting a book a year.
Right. Your camera's blurry.
I know, because when I swing my hand in front, it focuses on the hand. I got to stop talking like an Italian, which I'm not. I'm Swedish and Norwegian. I'm Swedish and Norwegian, but I get the hands going and it messes up the focus on the camera.
Yeah. So, Shadow of Doubt. This is is it the 23rd in this series?
Yeah. So I've written 24 books total. This is the 23rd Harvath book. One year I wrote 2 books in a year, and I wrote a spin-off book about an all-female Delta Force team called the Athena Project. Harvath makes a quick appearance in that, but essentially this is the 23rd Harvath book. Yes.
But you're 24th, because I remember last episode we said this is it was your 23rd, and then I was reading again the reviews and it's your 23rd, but it's the 23rd for
Harvath. Yeah. And there's a +1, and that's the Athena Project. So it's 23 + 1 books.
Yeah. Now this is out now. It's available now. As we're recording this is the last day of the month, second to last day of the month of July. This came out, 23rd, 24th, something like that?
No, this comes out August 6th.
Oh, it's not till August 6th. Okay.
Not till August 6th. Yeah. So as we're recording this, we're 8 days away from publication.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
A week from tomorrow, as we're recording this will be out.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was already released and out.
It was originally going to come out July 23rd, and the publication date changed to August 6th. So that may be what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
We head faked you. We changed the date.
You did. You psyched me out. So
they're like, shouldn't Lefty be at the meeting for the publication change? I'm like, no, we'll send him a note. Just he's a busy guy. He doesn't need to be in all the minutia of the book club. It's just as long as we do the podcast, Lefty will be happy. Just he doesn't need to see how the sausage is made. They're like, are you sure he's an important guy? We don't want to piss him off. I'm like, he's a good guy. He'll get it. Don't worry.
That conversation never happened, but I do appreciate the sentiment there.
Today, we have an exciting new product to announce, the Mission First Tactical Leather Hybrid Holster. We've combined the classic aesthetics and comfort of full-grain leather with the durability and functionality of modern kydex. Let's take a closer look at this innovative holster and talk about its benefits. We start the leather hybrid process with our original handmade kydex design. The inner shell provides our famous audible click and keeps your firearm in place with a robust anchored retention that will not loosen or fall out over time. A great benefit of having the kydex inner is that this holster will not collapse in on itself like a traditional leather holster will. This can be extremely dangerous, as it can cause a snag point on your firearm's trigger. With a solid, dependable kydex foundation in place, we then merge the outer layer with beautiful full-grain leather. No matter your carry preference, this thing is comfy. No more sharp corners or abrasive raw kydex rubbing against your side or your skin. The leather is soft and provides a nice barrier against you and your body. Let's go over some of the other features. A low-profile belt clip provides a quick yet secure way to attach your holster. With the turn of a screw, adjustable cant up to 15 degrees allows you to dial in the perfect angle for your draw. Left or right-handed? No problem. Ambidextrous design allows you to easily switch which side the belt clip goes on in your preference of carry. We've included a tall sight channel that allows suppressor height sights to clear your draw. Additionally, we set the holsters up to accommodate common red dot sights. Let's review the different ways you can carry your firearm with the hybrid leather holster. Inside the waistband at 3 o'clock, appendix, 5 o'clock, or outside the waistband. Carrying a firearm is a big responsibility, and your right as a law-abiding American. Mission First Tactical's leather hybrid holsters are designed with comfort, safety, and performance in mind. We use the best materials and equipment available, and everything is handcrafted right here at our facility in Horsham, Pennsylvania. Visit our website at missionfirsttactical.com to see our selection of leather hybrid holsters and much more.
Mission First Tactical is the official tactical accessories provider for the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for an exclusive 20% discount on all orders.
But you can go to bradthor.com. That's the site that I've got up now for our viewing audience. But if you're listening, you go to bradthor.com. I'm sure Amazon, if you got the Amazon shoppers and you've got, credits on those Audible books that you can use. It's coming up August the 8th.
6th.
Right? 6th.
So books are always published on a Tuesday, traditionally published books. It's an old thing that happens in the book industry. I guess maybe they were closed on Mondays because they were open on the weekends. So
like
barber
shops.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, like barbershops, restaurants are sometimes closed like on Sundays and Mondays. It's an old carryover from the way the book business, and I can't remember, like they were closed on Sundays. They get new books on Monday and then they put them out on Tuesday. But so your first week on sale starts on Tuesday. So you actually don't get a full week. You're off by a day. So traditionally published books always come out on a Tuesday. Kind of an interesting little inside baseball about. There it is. There it is. It's me on the Today Show with my white summer sport coat there.
So I was going to ask you about this. This was going to be one of my questions down the line, but since you went ahead and brought it up, with the tours and you got to push and promote, doing the promotions. They call it junkets.
Yeah, book tour, press junket. Yeah,
and I mean you have to go to all these different climates, I guess I'll say political climates. And
I get to go. I get it. I don't have to go. My view on this is I get to go. Do you know how many authors would kill to be on a book tour, to be on a press tour? I'm blessed, Lefty. I'm blessed. I get to go do that. I get to do your podcast. I'm the lucky one. Yeah.
I understand. And
I'm the lucky one.
To me. You get to do this. I mean, it's not something you have to do. But if you want to sell more books, you got to get out, you got to promote, and you got to go to all these different avenues to do that. So, as you go, are you ever met with, not disdain, but is everybody just like exuberant and glad to have you on, or
I have never had a bad experience, knock on wood. It has been wonderful. Listen, I entertain everybody. I don't care how you vote. It's not my job to, it's like, I always joke, what kind of idiot would open a deli and hang a sign on the front that says no blacks, no Jews, no gays? Why would you cut people out of your audience? It would make no sense. And that line is a lyric from an old song that I can't remember right now. But so for me, I write for everybody. It's like I said, like the James Bond movies. It doesn't matter how you vote. You can enjoy my books regardless if you're an independent, a Republican, a Democrat. You can be a Green Party person. None of that matters. I'm trying to give you, I want you to have the toes in the sand, book in the hand, whipping through those pages. I write for everybody. And so my experience in the media, and granted, there's places that I've been that you would normally think, okay, well, maybe they're not pro-gun, pro-military, but that's not necessarily what I'm selling when I'm there. I'm selling espionage and intrigue and foreign locations and all that kind of stuff. So every single place, and I've run the gamut from Fox to MSNBC. I have been treated with nothing but respect and kindness and shown books. This is what's kind of neat, Lefty, is that books are a shared language. If you love to read, it cuts across all that kind of stuff. Books don't care how you vote. Books don't care how much money you got in your bank account. Books don't care what kind of job you have, what your education. Nobody cares. If you love books and you meet somebody else who loves books, you guys are speaking the same language. And that's been my experience. I've been very, very fortunate that everybody has treated me so well across the political and media spectrum.
Now, when you do these tours, like I'll pull it back up here.
Except Pierce Morgan. I have to be honest. And and I have a good relationship with Pierce. When he used to have his show here, I used to do Pierce Morgan's show a lot when he was in the United States, and Pierce was a pretty anti-gun guy. But I will say this: he's fair. Well, no. When he had a show here, he probably still is very, very anti-gun. I just don't follow him now that he's over in the UK. You know what I mean? So he's not in my face the way he was here. And I did his show several times. And if you can articulate your position, if you can hold your position, and you are respectful, I got that back from him. So I chide him a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving and you got another guest coming up. You don't get to talk about me once I'm off set. Okay. You don't get to continue to argue your position against me once I'm gone, because that's dirty pool. Yeah. But he was always very good to me. He was always very kind. We used to talk about our kids a lot during the breaks. And I was actually really impressed with what a good dad he was and the advice he gave his kids. So he was definitely, anti-gun and that kind of stuff. No question there.
That he's that way though, just for shock factor a lot. I mean, I don't really get the feeling that, he's like 100%.
Well, and he's also British. He's also British. It's kind of
he's British.
Can I use a curse word on your podcast, or should I not do it? Yes. All right. He's kind of full of shit to come to America to relaunch his career and then lecture us about the Constitution and our rights as free citizens of the Republic here. He's full of shit to come tell me. I mean, he didn't grow up with the tradition of the Second Amendment, So I like him.
America at all, and none of our freedoms and none of our rights. And that's what I don't understand is the people that are delivering our news. A lot of the people that are delivering our news are foreigners. You look at, Pierce Morgan's, prime example, but ABC, CBS, NBC, Newsmax, even Newsmax has foreigners. Fox has foreigners, British, Australians that are delivering American news and, how can I take them serious? I don't understand that angle on things.
Yeah. So for me, I always try to British. I try to draw the line between news and opinion. So if you're doing hard news, I trust that you have journalistic ethics, which should transcend country of origin, right? So if you're going to give me the news, that's it. But when you give me opinion, your opinion is informed by your life experience, right? So if you grew up in Australia or you grew up in Canada, your life experience is a lot different than mine. So that's where it starts. I start going, okay, well, what frame of reference when this person's giving me their opinion are they coming from, right? So it's a little bit different. But again, my experiences have been really, really good, simply because people have treated me across the board. Yeah. But I've been respectful of them. I think respect is a two-way street. And I also think that if you do enough media, you can see if people respect if you push back. So there's like when I started, I was really afraid to even correct a host. Like if I was on a show and the host said something that was wrong, maybe in my bio, in the intro or whatever, I wouldn't correct them because I'm like, I'm in your house and I don't want to be disrespectful and I want to get back on this platform again. And then I found, well, you know what? There is a way to politely do it. And people respect you when you stand up for yourself, when you stand up for your material, but particularly when you stand up for the things that you believe in. And for me, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in my rights, First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment rights, so those things are important. So there's a way to do it that unfortunately, when they media train you, they don't necessarily teach you how to deal with those things. It's more kind of your experience. You do enough interviews, you learn how to politely, and I actually think it makes for better TV, better podcasts. If you say something I disagree with, it's more interesting if I say, actually, Lefty, I'm on the other side of that issue, and we respectfully hash it out. I think that makes for better. Your audience is going to be smarter at the end of it, and I also think it makes for a more intriguing.
They're going to respect the show more, because it's not just a yes man kind of show.
Amen. Agreed.
My listeners know that's not the way I am, and I try to let everybody know, to speak their mind and how they feel on the show too. I don't. I've never filtered my guests, never edited them in any way, form, or fashion. So along the lines of the question that I was originally asking you, as far as those shows, has anybody ever turned you down or said, absolutely not, we don't want this guy coming on our program?
I get turned down every year, and it's not ideological. You know, we're constantly pitching, hey, Brad Thor's got a new book. And what our challenge is, particularly when it comes to more newsy type programs, is to come up with a nonfiction hook. Yeah, Brad writes fiction, but what he does really is faction, where you don't know where the facts end and the fiction begins. And his books always play out on a legit real world global set piece. So that's the challenge for us, is if you want to go on Fox or CNN or MSNBC or PBS or whatever, you have to figure out why my book is important to their audience. What things am I talking about in the book? So we get lots of no's. We get more no's than we get yeses with me making appearances. And it's not that I'm not good. It's just there's plenty of shows that don't want to talk about fiction. That becomes the issue, is they see it, okay, this is fiction. We don't necessarily want to talk about it. But there are plenty of places that do. And so the podcast realm is awesome for somebody like me, because we can not only talk about the book, we've talked a ton about guns and the Second Amendment, and you have this freewheeling, this space within which you can talk about a lot of stuff. But if it's 3 to 5 minutes on network or a cable news show, they want to wrap it into the day's news. They don't want to lose people. So that's the thing. They constantly want to keep people glued, because if people jump to another channel, that hurts their ratings, and that means less revenue, right? For commercials and things like that. So, but that's okay. We know that they're looking for guests that will be able to help inform and entertain their audience. So that's incumbent upon us to pitch them. It's salesmanship. I'm selling this book. So if I want somebody's airwaves for 3 to 5 minutes, I have to show them why it's in the best interest of their show and good for their audience. So that's fine. I'm cool with that. But nobody's ever said, oh, that Thor, he's too hot-headed, or I don't like him because he's right of center. Sure. We haven't had that, or at least nobody's admitted to it. Let me put it that way.
Okay, well, that's good. So on this Instagram post that kind of started all this, you're on, is it the Today Show? Is that what that is?
Yeah, they have me on every year to recommend other people's books. So I'll come on beginning of the summer, around Christmas. Here's books you should give. I'm going to be back on September 4th, kind of the last gasp of summer. Here's the 5 books you shouldn't miss. And it's fun for me because I get to use my ability on the Today Show to help lesser known authors come to a wider nationwide audience. It's a great audience. So it really is a neat kind of way for me to give back to my industry and promote lesser known authors. It's really awesome. And by the way, they are fantastic to me. Al Roker is a clothes horse. And so Al always finds one. Where'd you get that jacket? Or when I used to wear suits, who did that suit? He's a lot of fun. Craig Melvin's great. They're wonderful, wonderful people. And the green room is fun. I get there early because I never know who's going to be there. You know, is Alan Jackson going to be in the room? Is it going to be Justin Theroux? Is Schwarzenegger there for something? That for me is the fun thing, is you never know who you're going to bump into at the Today Show. Who was in the green room that day? Oh, so this was like a year ago. I'd have to look back and see. I didn't post any photographs. So what's interesting is like, if you have really cool, down to earth people, they'll sit in the green room. If they're not cool, down to earth, I shouldn't say that. There's also private rooms where like mega celebrities who don't want to be bothered can sit in these private rooms that are off the green room, So, but I've met, I've done the show. Willie Geist is awesome. He went to Vandy, which is really cool. And he's from Evanston, Illinois, and I'm from Chicago. So I've seen Willie multiple times there, and Willie and I like to laugh. I love Willie's dad, who was a great journalist. Brooke Shields is still absolutely stunning and super nice. And I've seen Brooke there several times because she fills in on the Today Show. And oftentimes there's people that are just in and out, right? It's you've got a big K-pop group, and they're there, they do their song, and then they're off to the next hit that they've got to do. So I wish I could say, so Justin Theroux was there one time, but it's like, you'll never meet like out of Friends where Ross had a hall pass, right? With Isabella Rossellini. Like you'll never get that lucky. Like the one hall pass that you've got as a husband will never be there. You'll never get that lucky.
You never get that lucky. Oh my God.
No, you'll never get that lucky.
So, the book's not out yet, and I guess are you kicking off your book tour right now? Where are you headed? Where can people go and
So at my website, bradthor.com. I'm going to do a handful of cities this year. And so at bradthor.com, we've got under appearances. It's like, yeah, if you click up on Brad Thor and go to appearances, you'll see we've got book tour in the left column there. You'll see I'm going to Scottsdale, Dallas, then Parma is basically Cleveland, Ohio, and then I'll be at the big book festival called BoucherCon in Nashville at the end of the
here,
month.
you're going to be in Nashville. That's August 28th through September 1st.
Correct.
I need to go to that.
Yeah, well, if you're around, come by. It's a great festival. A lot of cool people will be there. And that's a fun one. So they've made me a spotlight guest, which is really, really nice. And that'll be out at the Gaylord Opry Resort out by the airport, which is a lot of fun. I understand there's a big German beer hall at Opry Mills, our big outlet mall now, that I have not been to, the German beer hall. So I think I'll probably gather up a bunch of fellow authors. Have you been there?
Yeah.
And just, I heard they have the shot ski where everybody can do a shot, like the shot glasses in the ski.
I think they have reinvented the place since I was there last. So I've heard from other people that it's gotten better. So I can't remember the name of it.
My kids used to love the aquarium restaurant that's there. You know, huge tank
or something like that. Is that what it was? Yeah,
it's got it's huge. Like the diver has to come in and feed some of the fish and clean the glass. And my kids used to love that, and we used to go all the time. But so I heard there was the beer hall there. We'll see. I'll let you know if I like it because I've been to a bunch of them.
Let me know about that because I do love German food.
Yeah, so do I. So that's why I want to go.
One of my favorite.
If I post any Instagram stuff from there, I'll tag you in it so you can't miss it.
Please do. Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be great.
Bet.
And like I said, I'm going to try to come out there for that.
Please do.
I'm in Murfreesboro, so I mean, why not? I'm just right here.
Sad. Home of the Robar 50 cal, the RC50. Nice. That's a proud thing of Murfreesboro.
It used to be. Now it's owned by Australians.
Did Rob? Did he sell it?
Yeah, he sold it.
God bless him. I hope he made a fortune. Really? Okay. Well, I hope he made a fortune. That is an amazing weapon system. Yeah. No. And good for him. Good for him.
Have you featured that in any of your books?
Yeah, I've put it in there. So it's the Barrett 50 cal. That's my bad. I'm sorry. The Robar is a different thing. It's
I knew what you meant. Yeah, the Barrett.
Yeah, no, but I should. But it's Ronnie Barrett. So shame on me for not thinking before I opened my big mouth. So Ronnie, a terrific guy. And that's so the Robar I've shot both of them. In the Robar used to be in the Phoenix area. That's where that was. And the U.S. Coast Guard, when they did their contract for 50 cals, Robar won it. And so they had Robar 50 cals in the helicopters to do drug boat interdiction, to put the round through the engine block and stop the boat. And when they were testing it, this is fascinating. When they were testing the Robar RC50, what they learned is that the shock wave out of the muzzle brake was rattling bolts loose on the airframe of the helicopters. Yeah. So they had to redesign. So instead of the energy coming out like through these diagonal ports and radiating back towards the helicopter itself, they had to do it so that the stuff came out this way, so that it would not, so that it wouldn't come back and rattle the bolts out of the helicopter. So there was a really cool engineering feat that was done to make that weapon so suited for the mission of the Coast Guard. It was really kind of cool. So I've had both rifles in my books. I'm a fan of both. Yeah.
What can we? I don't know if it's giving anything away or spoilers, but and you gave one away. I mean, you talked about the Flux that's featured in this. What else can we look forward to seeing? Firearms wise in this edition?
So, without giving stuff away, there are I've got a group that the Russian embassy uses out of their embassy in Paris. And these guys are plainclothes guys. They work with another unit that are kind of like Knox that live among the French. And in fact, in real life, this unit has been responsible for a lot of attempted assassinations. So there are some cool, little known Russian PDWs that these guys use that I have in the book. So if you read the book, look out for those. Those are really cool. And you know what's interesting? I used to go into great detail about the firearms. And what's fascinating is people will put up with a certain amount of detail. Right. But there's a lot of stuff where people who geek out about, I don't know, about how many grains and that kind of a thing. That's a small audience. So you have to, as the author, you're in the entertainment business. I'm not writing a training manual. I had a little back and forth with an ex-CIA guy. Well, I didn't have a back and forth. I actually chatted with a friend of his because I don't have a line directly to him. But there's a CIA guy that does some book reviews. And he commented that in one of my books that I had 3 cutouts between Harvath and the intel that he needed. And he's like, in real life, there'd be 8 people you have to go through. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't write real life. I write fiction. Nobody's going to sit through Harvath having 8 meetings.
Right. I've got to keep my listener engaged. Kind of
exactly. So I try to walk that fine line of saying, okay, here's the weapon. Here's, if it's a Glock, well, what kind of Glock is it? Okay, it's a 9mm. All right, well, is it a Glock 17, Glock 19? Does anybody still carry the 26, or are they go into more of that very, very slim Glock, which is, help me out here, Lefty. Is it the 43? And I actually own one, which I love. I've carried the 19 forever, and I carry the Glock 19 with Glock 17 magazines in it. Yeah. And it's funny. I was at my wife wanted to go to a farmer's market when we were in Wisconsin, and I had my Glock 19 with me, and then I've got a double mag holder on my belt, and so that's 2 more magazines with Glock 17 mags in there. What do you got? Yeah, look at
19
that.
with a 17 mag.
You do the same thing. Look at you. We're exactly alike in that respect. But I got to tell you, after a day of walking around with that thing, I was for whatever reason, it was really digging into my hip.
Well, situational awareness, I dress for the situation. So, if depending on what I'm wearing, depends on, how I dress it out.
Yeah, kind of how you carry. That's a lot of weight. So it was a long day because we went from the farmer's market to an art show and all this kind of stuff. And the holster that I use is, it's almost like a neoprene holster, and it's not attached to my. It's called a sticky holster.
Oh, you use the sticky holster?
I use the sticky because I can pull the whole thing out of my waistband, and I can put it wherever I want it in my truck and things like that. It's not attached to my belt. But I do wear, a regular gun belt that's not going to flop over and stuff like that. That day, I was so sore at the end, but I want that Glock 19 with the Glock 17 mags. I want to be carrying at least 2 more on my belt, because heaven forbid you ever get in a situation where it's not just a single attacker that you need to deal with. If there's a situation, heaven forbid, where it is a gunman with an AR or something like that, and it's going to be multiple rounds. I mean, there's so many things you have to consider, and you got to think about, how effective are the first couple of rounds.
Being prepared. I mean, that's the whole thing. You don't know what's going to go down. If you're not prepared, you're not prepared.
Exactly. And as much as I love my Glock 44, I think it's 6 rounds I can get in a magazine, and then 1 in the chamber with that. Single stack, exactly. So they're skinny, and I can carry a lot of them, but the amount of rounds I can carry with me are different. So that's always that for me is I can hide that Glock 19 even with the 17 mag in there. I can hide it pretty well because I always have an untucked shirt and it doesn't print. But it is comfortable to carry that Glock 44.
Here's another option for you for that type carry. You're saying you're using the sticky holster. Mission First, they make it's called a belly band holster. So it's
I've got several
breathable neoprene. They've got different options, but they got one where you can have 2 additional mags with your firearm, and they've got an admin pocket. So, if you needed to put other things in that, but it's more summertime, sleek kind of exercise.
When I'm hiking, that's what I carry. Yeah, I carry that when I'm hiking. I've got the Vanish holster. There's several different permutations of that belly band, and I've got like 3 of them. And I love that because when I'm hiking, I'm wearing like an Under Armour shirt that prints a lot more. But it prints if you carry in front, it prints. But the way the shirt falls off my shoulders, it doesn't hug my back. So if I spin the belly band around and have the, my pistol with the 2 mags in back, it doesn't print as much. Sure. And so that's a great alternative as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like seasoning a cast iron skillet. Use it that few times and it builds up in there. Our product, CLP Plus, is a bio-based, non-toxic, complete gun care. Your cleaning time will be reduced by over 50%. I like to say it's a clean shoot for it to fully remove whatever product you've had on there before. It's like seasoning a cast iron skillet. So all I like to do is you'll field strip it like this, go piece by piece. Basically all I do, I'll take the nylon brush into the paste, and you start covering. Come back, clean each piece, and then even on the handles, on the outside and on the inside. With our product, you wipe it all off. You don't leave any on there from grains and all, stick it in. It's safe on all metals, plastics, composites, wood, rubber, leather. I just use a nylon brush and then a bore jag with one of our pre-saturated patches. You put it in, swipe, coming back, you can see what it's pulled out. And this was a brand new firearm. With our product, your malfunctions from carbon buildup are virtually eliminated because carbon will not be building up. There's nothing to stick to. And all of our product is USA source and made. Grab the microfiber cloth and back and you'll wipe it off, and you'll wipe all the product off now. There you go. It's that simple.
Seal One is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for a 25% off discount.
I don't know where we were headed with that, but I do want to talk about this before we run out of time. And I don't know how much time you have, and you know that I don't set a time limit, so you just let me know when it's getting short on time. The last episode we talked about, when are we going to get the TV version of this, or the movie, or long series? And it looks like that we've got it even closer to happening now, because last time, unfortunately, you said that the guy that was writing it passed away.
Right. So during the writer's strike, our writer, Manny Cotto, who wrote many, if not most, of the 24 episodes, Manny had passed away. So our new writer is Stephen Lightfoot. He wrote the 2 seasons of The Punisher that were on Netflix with John Bernthal as the title character.
Series too, man. That was great.
Yeah, it was great. Steve gets it. He gets that. He understands not only the military culture, but also the warrior mindset. He really gets it. So Steve is fantastic. We've got Howard Gordon, who's the force behind 24 and Homeland, as our executive producer. We've got Chad Stahelski, who is the director of the John Wick movies, as our director. And so we're bringing this to TV. You guys are steroiding it out, man. This is it's an A+ team. It's an A+ team. And we've got another husband and wife producing team, Sean and Yvette Reddick, and they did Black Klansman, they did Get Out, they did Day Shift on Netflix. They are just super talented producers. They're doing the next installment. I think it's a new one. I don't think it's a reboot of the Boondock Saints. So the Reddicks are awesome. So we've got an A+ team, and now we're going to market with the show to figure out where we're going to sell it. So that means meetings at Netflix, Apple, Amazon Prime, HBO, Showtime. So we don't know where it's going to land yet, but we should know, knock on wood, by
that lineup. First come, first highest bidder.
That's what we're hoping. That's from your lips to God's ears, Lefty. Yeah, bidding war would be awesome. So we'll see what happens. But Prime, from what I understand, they're not doing any more Jack Ryan. So there's a hole at Prime. But because Terminal List and Jack Ryan has done so well at Prime, everybody else would love to have their own version of one of those shows. So it's a great market for us to be going into and selling Harvath. So we're really excited.
Who's doing Reacher?
That's Amazon Prime.
So that's Amazon. So Amazon has Reacher. They've got Terminal List.
Terminal List, and Jack Ryan's wrapped up there, I think. I don't think they're doing another season. Yeah.
So yeah, somebody else definitely needs to jump in and give us
So
a
we'll
little
see what
variety.
happens.
I mean, I'm okay with you being on Prime too. I mean, one-stop shop, kind of deal. But wherever it lands, I'm going to be glad. I just want it to land somewhere.
Yeah, me too. Me
Homeland,
too. So,
you mentioned the Homeland. What a great series Homeland was. For those who haven't seen Homeland, that was
awesome.
such a mind fuck. I'm sorry, it was a mind fuck show. I mean, it was just taking you in all kinds of different directions. And the chick, what was her name?
Carrie Matheson was the name of the character. Carrie Matheson,
the lady who played her,
Claire Danes.
Phenomenal.
Claire Danes was Claire Danes. A real quick story about Homeland that's kind of funny, and then I do need to bounce because I got to do another interview. This is the way these go. They line them up back to back to back. But I was in a Greek restaurant with my literary agent in New York, and we were one of the last tables in there. And the only other table in this back part of this restaurant, it was Mandy Patinkin, who played the CIA director in Homeland, and he was sitting with an actual CIA director, General Michael Hayden, who had been director of the NSA before going over to CIA. Oh, wow. And as we finished our dinner, we'd left him alone, and I told my agent, I said, I'm going to walk over there and say hello. And I walked over, I said, I'm Brad Thor, I'm a thriller writer. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting either of you gentlemen, but I said, I'd really like to get a photo. And Mandy Patinkin, the famous actor, said, oh, this happens all the time. No problem. I'm glad to take a photo with you. And I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Patinkin. I actually want a photo with the real CIA director. I said, and I handed him my phone, and I said, will you take a picture of me and General Hayden, please? So that was probably the first time that General Hayden had somebody want his picture over Mandy Patinkin. So Mandy Patinkin laughed and he took the photo, and then I've got a great picture of me with Mandy Patinkin and General Hayden, the guy who played the director versus the guy who was the CIA director.
So a little consolation for Manny, right?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to throw him a bone. He had a really good sense of humor. He thought that was a funny joke. So he was charming, just a lovely guy. Both of them are.
So before I let you go, if you got time for just a couple of more, so I'm noticing your background. Again, we know you're a big bourbon guy. You love your bourbon. Is that I'm trying to think of that bourbon. Is that Blue Run that you have?
So there's Blue Run. I polished off the bottle of Blue Run. You can find the bottle of Blue Run on my Instagram page. There's pictures of it on there. So this isn't even the full collection. I had somebody had access to my office, so I hid the most expensive bourbon because I was away for the weekend, and I have like Pappy and some other stuff that's behind a locked door.
So overrated. Overrated. Put that Pappy out there. Let people drink that. That's overrated.
I'm a big, you know what? I got to tell you, Preston Van Winkle is a fan of the books. And so he sent me the bottle of Pappy and took a gold paint pen and wrote a note to me on the side of the bottle. So it's like one of the most prized things I own. And then
don't tell him I said that then.
No. And I think it's delicious and I love it.
Good, and I don't think it's that good. Now because I did see that post that you did of the Blue Run.
Yeah.
Have you got a new favorite now, or what?
I got another fan who's good friends of Guy Fieri's, and I was trying to get into Guy's restaurant. I was just up in Santa Rosa over the weekend, and the time just didn't allow for me to get there. But she had sent me. She's a big fan of the books. She had sent me a bottle of Wild Turkey Master's Keep, which is a really high-end wild turkey, and that's fantastic. But I got to tell you, my everyday stuff, Lefty, that I drink is, I'm a, well, I don't even know if I have any of it here in the office, but I'll drink a Knob Creek. I'm a Bullet bourbon guy. I mean, it's pretty simple. You can find the bourbons that I like to drink on a daily basis. You can get them in the grocery store. I'm not a bourbon snob. I love great bourbons. I'm not either, but I like to hear about
these new ones that come out, whether they're good or not. Cause I just hate dropping, $50-$60 on a bottle of bourbon when I can just get my Bullet, like you said, or I know I'm going to like it.
No. So I'm like if my liquor store gets a Colonel Taylor in, You know, that's a treat for me. I love to get a Colonel Taylor. That's good stuff. But the Blue Run, I've really enjoyed that lately. That somebody who works with me bought that for me for my birthday, and I've really enjoyed that. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty good one. And
Yeah.
one last thing, explain the artwork that's above your bourbon there.
So yeah, this is a model that's she's holding a bottle of Dom Perignon with the helicopter. That's like a picture like from the 80s, and I'm like, she looks like she's having a good time. So that's just a fun. I got pictures of a couple of different beautiful women having good times in my office, and that was just
the helicopter and the lady with the wine, or I can tell
champagne.
Exactly yeah, champagne. Yeah, kid there.
She's living the good life. It's a reminder to live the good life, to not, I don't want to wait until I'm retired just to go outside to buy a bottle of champagne like that, only to get hit by a bus on the way to the liquor store. It's like, don't wait. There's no such thing as a bottle of wine, bottle of bourbon, or a bottle of champagne that you should hold for a special occasion. The fact that you're still alive and breathing, and it's a day ending in Y, that's a special occasion. Don't wait. Don't hold it. Celebrate now. Nothing. Tomorrow is not promised.
Words to live by. Break out that bottle of Pappy. Put it out there for everybody, Brad, to enjoy. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to be on, because it's always a better day when we get to talk to you and have you on and give the Leadheads an update on what's going on in the life and times of Brad Thor. Lots going on and lots coming up. I'm excited for the future that it holds for you, and hopefully you'll come back on and share all the good news with us.
I will. Thank you for having me, Lefty.
Yes, sir. You're welcome back anytime. Brad Thor,
Thanks,
ladies and gentlemen.
She said she didn't like that thing.